You must have heard some amazing stories over the years of people who've become Christians having been to a meeting with you. Is there one that stands out, one that you think, "Oh, that was just amazing"?
Well, I can think of two that have come. One, I was in Cambridge doing a mission with lots of undergraduates, overseas students. And it was kind of coffee shops and those kinds of coffee shop evangelism. And one of the coffee shops we used was also used as a private coffee shop. So we used to have to pick up the keys from the lady running it to use it when we did. And I met this lady running it and, discovered that she wasn't really interested in Christianity. So I said to her, why don't you come to the meeting tonight? She said, no, I'm not interested. So I said, look, well, why don't you come anyway? And she said, look, don't you understand? I'm not interested. I said, I know you're not interested, but why don't you come anyway? And she said, look, I don't believe it. I said, yes, I know you don't believe it, but I said, come anyway. And she's like, are you nuts? Can you not understand? I'm not interested. I don't believe in it, and I'm not coming. And I said, well, I know you're not coming, and I know you don't believe in it, and I know you're not interested. But I said, why don't you come anyway? And she said, I'm not coming. So anyway, that was the end of the conversation. Anyway, she went home, had to clean up, had to cook for the next day, eventually sat down next to her mother in front of the TV. And then next minute, she turns to her mother and says, I'm going to go and hear an evangelist, and got on a bike, cycled 3 miles, got to the meeting. And she said that the drama she thought was written for her. She thought the songs were written for her. She thought the talk I gave must have been written for her. And then when I gave an appeal for people to respond, she was the first person to respond. And anyway, I was so impressed that she changed her mind. I married her. Is that a good story?
That is such a good story,
isn't it?
It's wonderful.
I know.
You said you had two. Tell me.
Right, okay, that one. But the interesting thing about that, Cindy, is this whole thing of, no, I'm not interested. Well, I know you're not interested, but come anyway.
Persistent, aren't you?
Yeah, but we're so unpersuasive. We're like, oh, Cindy, would you like? Well, first of all, we're nervous, aren't we? Would you come? Would you come to this meeting? Yeah. And then you might say, oh, I'm not sure. And we're like, oh, all right then.
Yes.
I'll tell you another story. Okay, I was speaking at Sydney University, and after the first meeting, this girl came up to me, and really bullshit, quite rude and quite angry, and said, I hated what you said. And I said, oh, I'm really sorry. And she said, yes, I think church ruins people's lives. So I said, oh, okay. I said, well, look, if you've got a few minutes, I'll take you for a coffee. We can talk about it. So she's like, all right then. So I took her for coffee. And then I said, look, I'm speaking tomorrow, Tuesday. Why don't you hear me on Tuesday? And then I said, I'll take you for coffee. And she was like, well, yeah, it's still bullshit, but all right then. So I said, well, okay, look, I'm speaking Wednesday. Why don't you come Wednesday and I'll take you for coffee? And she said, oh, okay then. I said, well, look, why don't you come on Thursday? Hear me Thursday, and then I'll take you for coffee. And she said, oh, okay. And I said, well, look, my last meeting's Friday. You might as well come to the last meeting, hear me, and I'll take you for coffee. So she came to the last meeting, took her for coffee. She's converted. Now, that girl is called Christine Kane, and she's probably the most influential preacher in Australia.
Gosh.
And I think with that, I think, well, what if I didn't take her for coffee on that Monday? But also, I think with some people, you need 5 coffees. One's not enough. And I think sometimes we stop with 1 coffee.
That's the title of your next book, isn't it, really?
5
Don't stop
coffees.
at 1 coffee.
Cindy, you've given me a good title.
OK, we'll sort of figure out later on.
All right.
OK, here comes the big moment now. J.John.
Well, Cindy, I'm Greek.
Yes.
And I was born in London, but my parents are Greek Cypriot. And my name in Greek is